big thank you to Allison Tan and Scott Arsenault. Allison, you have set an example for young women like myself, and for a long time, you've been a constant supporter of my work, well before I engaged as a candidate, and now as a senator-elect. Can you hear me now? Good. There you go. I didn't know I was that tall, and I needed that. And for those of you who don't know, Scott is the longest-serving ED in Florida's history. Us crazy Democrats and have done so well for so long is completely beyond me. Our party is better.
4 more years.
4 more years. Stronger because of your commitment and your longevity. On behalf of all Democrats in the state and those who may never know your name, thank you. Thank you for what you do. Today our party, once again, will make history, but for the right reasons, by having a woman accept the nomination for the highest office in the land, President of the United States of America. Each and every one of us feels not just the buzz of excitement and promise at the convention, but the sense of knowing we are part of what will be a defining time in American history. We will not be trumped on our way to the polls. That said, I want to ask you, why are each and every one of you here today, this week? Why have you traveled 1,000 or more miles to participate over the last few days? What is your motivation to be among this group of super Democrats? It's taken a lot to get here. Walking for candidates, fundraising, thousands of hours of strategy and update calls, canvassing, and the continuous registering of people to vote, sacrificing time, talent, and treasure to be outspoken supporters of our party in any way that you can. So why do you do it? Are you driven by a passion to protect a woman's right to choose?
Yes!
To help Democrats regain control of the House and the Senate? Perhaps it's to protect the Supreme Court? Or to do something to stop the epidemic that is gun violence in our nation? Perhaps it's because 2020 marks the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, and you want a woman who has spent her entire career fighting for women, children, and families in the White House, not a Trumpster who uses sexism, disrespect, and disregard for women and their worth. No matter our whys, we are all in this together. A brighter future for all, not just for some as our Republican counterparts would have it. While they wish to build walls and welcome divisiveness and exclusion, we seek bridges, choosing to foster cooperation and inclusion. We are here together because we believe in creating opportunities for working families, for the middle class. We believe in ensuring that each and every person in our country has access to high-quality health care. We believe in a strong public school system and making early childhood education a top priority. I stand here today prouder than ever to be a Democrat. We are, as they say, the party of the people. We are a party that knows that we are stronger together than divided. And while we certainly have our differences, we honor each other's experiences, views, and voices. We speak up for the good of all, not just for a few. As someone, for the first part of her life, felt she had no voice, that concept is truly personal to me. I grew up in a home that was full of love, but that had its challenges. I was the oldest of 3 children, and while I loved taking care of my brother and sister, making sure lunches were packed and shin guards were in soccer bags, at just 10 years old, I couldn't drive a car or go grocery shopping. Those were a few executive decisions above my pay grade. So my parents brought a woman into our home to help take care of me, my sister, and my brother. she became more than a caretaker. She was part of our family. We all loved her, and my parents trusted her beyond any shadow of a doubt. But when I was 11 years old, the woman we knew as our family nanny violated that trust and began to physically, sexually, and emotionally abuse me. I was scared, embarrassed, and ashamed. I felt trapped and very, very alone. Every day I tried to speak up and tell about what was happening, but no one could hear me, and my voice had been taken. After 6 long years, I disclosed the abuse I had been suffering. I was believed and helped, and after 6 years of silence, I finally found my voice. I grew stronger. Thank you. And my voice grew louder. Thank you. I became an advocate for myself and for others. I began working with members of the Florida legislature to create change, enacting and strengthening laws that protect children and help keep predators at bay. I found my passion in education, helping to create the country's first of its kind abuse prevention curriculum, which is keeping millions of children across America safe. Woo! Armed with the knowledge that 95% of sexual abuse is preventable with education and awareness, I have continued to use my voice, speaking to anyone and everyone who will listen, from school-age children, grades pre-K through 12, parents and educators, law enforcement, the media and policymakers in this United States and beyond. For the past 7 years, I have laced up my sneakers, and during Sexual Assault Prevention Month and Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I have each year walked 1,500 miles across Florida, crisscrossing our great state. Woo! It is a long walk, not in these heels. Walking with thousands of our fellow Floridians to raise awareness and provide education in the fight to end childhood sexual abuse over the years. I have now walked over 9,000 miles, and many in this room have walked with me, like Senator Nelson, Congresswoman Graham and her dad, Senator Graham, Mayor Buckhorn, Mayor Dyer, and Mayor Gillum, senators like Oscar Brannick, Audrey Gibson, and Arthenia Joyner, as well as House members like Representative Jared Moskowitz and Janet Cruz, as well as Alan Williams. But I am not alone in my quest for child protection. Far from it. Over the years, Democrats have led the fight to defend women's rights and children's rights, which are defined and declared and defined by our national presidential nominee to be human rights. From U.S. Senators Kristen Gillibrand and Dianne Feinstein fighting for legislation to bring abuse prevention and personal safety curriculum countrywide, to Vice President Joe Biden, who has worked tirelessly to end sexual assault on college campuses. These Democrats have worked to continue the party's legacy of rising to meet challenges facing those who are most vulnerable. And perhaps no one has better illustrated this than our nominee, Hillary Rodham Clinton. As a young lawyer at the Children's Defense Fund, Hillary Clinton was part of a team going door to door on a fact-finding mission, trying to figure out why there was such a discrepancy between school enrollment numbers and census data. Why so many school-aged children were not enrolled in school. And do you know what she learned? That many of the children who remained at home did so because of a disability. That was simply unacceptable. So Hillary and the Children's Defense Fund lobbied Congress to pass the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, creating a basis for special education that simply does not and did not exist before that time. Since the start of her career, Hillary Clinton has proven to possess a desire to look at an issue and ask why. This is the kind of leader she is. Someone who will figure out the root cause of an issue. Someone who will walk door to door to investigate an injustice. Someone who isn't afraid to roll up her sleeves and get her hands dirty. Someone who will fight and fight hard for each and every single one of us, and who will not rest until the job is done. We've seen it in her fight for health care reform as First Lady. We've seen it in her ability to negotiate a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas as the most traveled Secretary of State in our nation's history. We've seen it in her refusal to back down when it comes to issues like mental health. Hillary believes, as I do, that the mind is an organ just like the heart or the liver, that mental health is part of a person's general health, and that there should be parity of coverage, access, and care. That last one is personal for me, as I'm sure it is for many of you. And it is an issue that I look forward to tackling in Florida when I take office in this November. As you may have guessed, some of the darkest times in my own life have propelled me to shine light for others. That experience of being voiceless, which drives me to help others find their own voice. It's why, as a senator-elect, I am honored and challenged to use my advocacy in new ways to represent the 32nd District in Broward County and serve the people of the great state of Florida. I will fight to protect childhood and create strong policies that will protect women's health, expand access to mental health services, strengthen our criminal justice system, and much, much more. So my fellow Democrats and delegation members, as we stand at the convention tonight and watch Hillary Rodham Clinton become our Democratic nominee for President of the United States of America, I am going to ask each and every one of you to remember your why. In the weeks and months to come, we will need to fight and fight hard. We must hold on to and fight for our whys, the place from which our passion comes, as we work to defeat Donald Trump, Mike Pence, and the Republicans, and put a Democrat into the White House for another 4 years. And hopefully 4 more after that. Standing here, looking at each and every one of you, I know that no matter our whys, we are all in this together for a brighter and bluer tomorrow, because you and I know the alternative, racism, sexism, classism, and oppression is simply unacceptable. We will not stand for 4 years of closed eyes, ears, and hearts. There is simply too much at stake. We cannot afford to break the momentum of the history we made this week in breaking that highest glass ceiling. We must maintain that momentum and knock, if not bang, on the doors of all voters in our great state, the state that we love so much. We must continue this historic moment through Election Day and ensure Trump and the Republicans do not steal this election from us, the people. Let's not let this momentum die simply on the moment in time. We must